I mean, while we're talking about sponsoring and that, we've got some stickers here for our guests.
If you can stick it on the car for
If you can stick one of them on the car, that would be great.
The Formula 1 car's like real estate.
I know. I think Coca-Cola has just started sponsoring McLaren. The sticker's not even as big as that. And somebody did mention the other day how much it was. It was in the millions.
Yeah,
you'd never see it unless you was like looking and standing next to it. So I don't think that's a good enough excuse, really. Yeah, it's fine. Don't have to, we don't want to.
So...
Right, welcome to Gasoline Junkies. I'm Russell.
I'm Barry.
And this is...
Mark.
Right, so Mark, we've got you on because I had a conversation with my brother.
Yep.
And he said, I've just tattooed a guy and he's perfect for your podcast, no pressure. So you do whatever you want to do. And he goes, he works for the F1 team, changing the front left wheel, I think.
Yeah, rear left.
Rear left wheel.
Yeah.
All right.
Do a bit more than that, but
that's basically it.
That's just like 4 seconds of a weekend.
So normally when we get guests on, we do like a little bit of like internet stalking, like go on your Instagram and sort of stalk you for a little bit. Yours is quite vague because you just pretty much it's just Formula 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've got no history of your car history basically, so I can't even sort of like do some questions that we would normally sort of ask.
No.
So we have got questions for you, but normally we kind of like got half an idea what your car history is. So we're just going to wing this.
Right, fair enough.
We're pretty good at that, aren't we?
Yeah, we're not too bad.
So first question is, what's your name and what do you drive?
My name's Mark, as we said. Drive Audi A5 Quattro.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's Quattro.
Oh, it's got to be Quattro.
Yeah, it's got to be, innit? Yeah, definitely. Cool. Right.
Yeah.
How many cars have you owned?
Doesn't have to be just cool cars. It just
any cars.
Well, let's see. We go back. I started with a Austin Metro.
Oh,
nice.
That's my first one.
You're a big lad. That must have been a struggle. Or did you grow up?
Maybe it wasn't so big back then.
See, tall lads like small cars. I love hot hatches.
Thing is, when you're young as well, trying to insure a car, it's a 17, Austin Metro.
Cool.
A 1300, not 1 litre.
Oh, cool.
Used to rinse that as much as we could, so much so that sheared engine mounts and all sorts.
Brilliant.
Got a Nova next, like everyone does.
SR?
No, it's a 1300. I got alloys off of a SRI Cavalier, so that was in there. I slammed
nice 15-inch ones.
14, 15 back then. It was close on the arch, very close. We had the exhaust on there, the K&N air filter, the split fire plugs, like everyone would do.
Lovely.
Then got really sensible and thought, like 19, 20 years old, Vauxhall Cavalier, man.
SRI, GSI?
No, just a 1600.
Did you pimp it up at all? Or?
No, that one I just didn't. I thought, I was trying to be a bit more sensible in a horrible Cavalier blue colour. But also ended up acquiring an Alpha Sud in that time, and I know, handed it to me.
Did you?
Nice.
Had another Cavalier SRI, but the old square boxy shape. Got given that. It's just guys at work and they're like contractors and they're leaving and they've got a car that's falling apart and I'm like, I'll fleece some parts off of that. Where did I go from there? Cavalier. Then I got Cavalier SRI. Mm-hmm. They used to smell of fuel quite a bit.
Yeah.
I tend to do that.
And then I went away. I was working in Canada. I ended up with a Ford Maverick. Ford Escape, but it's Maverick over here.
Yeah.
Come back here. Still had the leaky Cavalier. Got rid of that for a Calibra. There's a bit of a Vauxhall thing going on here.
8 valve, turbo.
2 litre 8 valve. Head gasket would go every 5 minutes. Yeah. So I had that. I was working in Holland. Some guy out there bought that off of me. He wanted one. Then the head gaskets started going on him as well. It wasn't just me. Come back home. I literally had a weekend to buy a car, and I found this 840 quid Cavalier, 2.5 V6, but it's a manual.
Right.
Cesaro. Apparently, I never made many of them. I really regret getting rid of that because I love this thing. It's shifting the 0 to 60 was around the 5.
What was it? What spec?
It's a Cesaro. So one of their limited edition ones.
Right. And what was the difference between?
I really don't know. But
it's probably just a button.
It probably had the V6 in it as well. So I don't think the Cavalier had a V6 in it.
Then they did the V6. A lot of them were the autos.
Yes. So yours was a manual.
So it was a manual. I remember driving that around Holland. There was one guy at work ended up going to HR about me because I'd overtake him every single morning on country roads. But that thing, it was lovely. Black car. It had the Pico 4-inch exhaust from buying it. It was a noisy thing. Like windows were about as black as the bodywork, and it was purple when you looked out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that thing is great. But that was the gearbox start. I was grinding through the gears and that. So it must have been about 25 at the time. Thought I could be 24, 25. Sensibly bought an Amiga.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
But those things wallowed. They didn't handle. That's horrible.
That's what the police would use, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They
I
did,
think
yeah.
the V6 ones were rear-wheel drive, or were
They
all
were
rear-wheel
rear-wheel
drive?
drive. They were rear-wheel drive for
Yeah.
V6. So yeah, I had the V6 auto because I thought, well, if I'm going to and from Holland and places like that,
Yeah.
it's just comfortable. But going back to the Cavalier very quickly, I just remembered I was working in Czech Republic in the winter, obviously quite cold. It was great heaters, everything worked on it, but the blower never worked.
Oh.
So every morning you'd start it up, no, it'd be warm, you got no air comfort, so I had to get going, so you're like trying to do the windows every day as you go.
I have to do that now.
Iced up and
Scrape the windows on the inside.
yeah. So now we had that, Amiga. Then start having children. So we went for a 323 fastback.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I had that for a bit. And done some motorbikes as well, but that's not what this is about. Went from there, got a Zafira, the old boxy square thing.
I had one of those.
Yeah.
Horrible thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Well, I think we only had it about 6 months, but it just kept lighting up like a Christmas tree. Coming back from Nuki, I'm like, no, that's it, we're getting another one. So we'd only had, like, say, 6 months. And,
You think you would have learnt your lesson for the Vauxhalls?
well, yeah, I would have liked to.
There is a love and an attraction with a Vauxhall.
I just kept going back for them, but
Is that purpose as well, or is it just coincidence?
I think it was like,
Go for Vauxhalls.
I don't know, it's like a British car. I know me granddad had a lot of Vauxhalls, and I thought, well, yeah, he's old, gets a lot of Vauxhalls, must be fine. But yeah, we went another Zafira after that, and we got the newer shape after the Christmas tree scenario. I had that for a while, and then I just wanted to upgrade it, so I decided, is it from that one? Yeah, I got another Zafira. That was one where, it was a lovely car, and that I had a little sport button, and that was the first diesel one that I'd had. And 6 months I finished paying, I've just done it on a 5, young and everything, so 5 years, just about to pay off. We were 6 months away, and the ex-wife wrote it off.
Oh no!
Straight under a lorry with it. So we just bought a house and everything, so I went down the local Vauxhall garage and bought a Zafira again, because
What's that for?
that's 4 Zafiras, yeah.
Jesus.
Did they get sponsored by Vauxhall?
We should do after this.
No, so I'd done that. I think, and during those times with kids, like we've got 4 kids, so I had 4 kids, so you needed something where 6 of us could get in, and it was the practical
That's why
choice.
I bought mine,
Yeah. So I had that, but in the meantime, I'd had a little Polo 1 litre Fox thing just run to and from work. Little 1600 Astra and a Golf GTI Mark III.
Nice.
It was nice. And then finally, when I thought, I've grown up now again, I didn't want a Zafira anymore. And like, that's the thing, I was at the point where I could get rid of this, and like, obviously that wife had gone, I've got a better one now. And I
Traded her in like a Vauxhall.
head gasket went on her. And I thought, I can get a car for me now. This is one for me. So that's where I picked up the Audi.
Oh, nice.
5.5 years ago, and
Still loving it.
I still love it. And recently I was looking through other cars, and I'm like, I was seriously toying with getting rid of it. And this is only a couple of weeks. Last week, I toyed with it for a bit, and I'm looking through cars, Infiniti Q50. I thought, that's a lot of car for the money there, and they're well spec'd. So I looked at that, and had that saved in Auto Trade, and I had a Mercedes E350 there, and thought, while I'm getting older, I still want to be able to get down in those low cars so I enjoy that. And then I had a couple of A7s in there. As I looked at them, I thought, well, that Q50's rear-wheel drive. Chance Mercedes will be as well. And the A7, I'm not getting much newer car for going Like it's a bigger car.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting much more car for it. I thought, actually, I love my car. I really love my car. You know whose car I hate? I hate my wife's car. Nissan Duke, a CVT, and that CVT gearbox that's awful.
Yeah.
It whines and whines and whines. So I thought, I could get her a new car. So on Saturday, I picked a few out in Auto Trader, showed her, took her down to London, and we found
Safira.
No, I got her, we got Audi Q2.
Oh, nice.
But 2 litre Quattro. So
Lovely.
Yeah.
she thinks we need to have a race to see who's quicker. I'm going, no, I've got more power in mine's definitely
We have
got
an
more in
airstrip
it.
out there, we want to use it.
So, so now we've got 2 Audis at home. And
You like keeping to your brands, don't you? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. The Audi, it's never put a foot wrong, really. I had to have a caliper replaced.
Right.
Not really that
That's just
expensive.
where, that's just where it's
wear
at.
and tear.
Yeah, that's it. That was last year. And a headlight bulb.
That's it.
Audi wanted like
5 years.
250 quid for a headlight bulb, but Halfords do their fitting service at about 55 quid. So
That's criminal, isn't it?
yeah,
Absolutely
so I think
criminal.
that is all that I've had with it. I had to do my cam belt last year, but that again, wear and tear.
Yeah.
So when I sat there and thought about it, I thought the thing owes me nothing. I'm keeping this car.
It's
It's
what
lovely.
I try to tell you with modern cars, mate, because you've had all that go wrong this week with your car. Russell's got this old Beamer, this 5 Series. It's like a M5 lookalike.
Yeah.
And we went and bought it, and that was well over a year and a half ago, wasn't it? I think he's only driven it about 3 weeks because it's just constantly broken.
The head gasket went on that. But it was almost like the guys fixing it didn't really have time to do it, so it was always put to the back, put to the back,
Yeah.
put to the back, and that's why it took as long as it did. It's a shame, because when the money sat there, I just want it back, and it was like, oh, it'll be ready next week, and then next week come, I'll be ready next week come, and this is like 10 months later, and I was like, it needs to be next week now, because I've had enough of it, and then it was. And then it broke again. But I think it's fixed now.
You should get an Audi.
Yeah, an Audi.
Put it in the test.
There's loads of Audis out
Do
there.
it.
I must admit, I like Dean's Audi.
Yeah.
I liked it, and then I heard it, and then I was like, I fucking love that car.
Yeah.
It sounds a beast.
Yeah.
Well, that's it now. Like, the wife's driven mine a couple of times. She just loves it because you can put your foot down, you get that pull and throw it back in the seat.
Yeah.
Test drove that car and like the Q2, put my foot down in it, drove it. Looks in the rear view mirror, she's grinning away there. She absolutely loved it. So she wants this car. This is
miles per mile, they call it.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm not going to ask you the next question because it was where does this love of cars come on, but it's going to be where does this love of Vauxhalls come from? So you've explained that your
my granddad.
initially had Vauxhall, so we've kind of...
Is that where your
had that
passion for
already.
cars come from?
No, I assume we've never really been a big car family and that. It's just I think it's the thing I noticed. And even when I kept getting Vauxhalls, I noticed he'd gone for a Toyota, but I still kept getting Vauxhalls. My granddad, my mum's side, it was always getting German cars. It was Volkswagen and Seat, which is obviously now owned by Volkswagen and that.
Yeah.
So noticing these cars on my granddad's side, him and his brother had these cars, so maybe that's where the Audi thing come in. I thought, German cars, they're good, they last.
Solid.
Yeah, and they do last.
You got to look at the pedigree, like the history of like Audis as well, and what they do now is like Lamborghinis. There's something to do with Lamborghinis, isn't it? No,
They own Lamborghini.
they own it now. So a lot of the Lamborghini parts are just Audi parts anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like engine parts and stuff. It's insane.
Right, next question. Next car. If you had to get rid of the Audi,
If I got rid of the Audi tomorrow,
what would it be? You've said about the E350 and the Infinity.
dream car or realistic?
We get to dream car
We'll
in a
get to
little
dream
bit.
car later
Yeah.
because that's a bigger subject. But next realistic car.
Realistic car, I'd like that what I've got, but with a 3 litre.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind I was looking at the other day. It's like an SQ7.
Yeah.
Very
Because
nice.
it's good on my knees that when I'm getting in and out.
That's what Dean's got, isn't it?
Dean's got a Q7, but it's the twin turbo diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a SQ or
Oh, okay.
something.
Right.
It's,
But I do like the Audi A7s as well.
yeah, they are.
It's that back end, I just love it. And
Yeah.
I want the little spoiler that comes out.
Yeah, don't blame. No,
No, I
great,
don't blame you
no,
either.
great.
So we're going to pause our questions for a little bit. Could you tell us about your job?
My job.
Yeah.
I work in motorsport.
You do
Formula
work in
One.
motorsport, yeah.
Work for HAAS MoneyGram HAAS Formula 1 team. I work there. I do composites, so all the carbon fibre. Travel with the race team. Obviously involved in pit stops where I put the rear left wheel on.
As soon as Dean told me this, I was like, "What? Do you get promoted to like the right side and then not know what you're doing because it's the wrong side of the car?"
No, I used to do. I started off just adjusting, and I will say, and you watch those guys who just adjust the flap on the front wing there. That's probably the hardest job to do because that car comes in, you've eyed it up, and it's coming down there, and you've got your gun in. And then the car goes up. So then you're trying to get it up there and it goes in again. It's shaking around as everyone's putting a tyre on. You're trying to change your flap angle and that. And then the car drops down and then it's trying to go out the box and you're still trying to pull the trigger.
I think the thing that is inconceivable for someone... I know you're not a huge Formula 1 fan, I am. But you're doing all of that in hopefully less than 3 seconds. 2.5 seconds.
2.5, yeah.
And you can see why there's, 30-odd blokes around the car?
Yeah, well, we've got your 2 flap adjust guys, your 2 front and rear, so you've got your front and rear jack, plus a spare front and rear jack, and then you've got 3 on each corner. A guy there ready to lift it up from the side if they're changing the nose. You'll have usually chief mechanic for us is he'll press the go button, tell him to go. You've got a guy at the back doing traffic, tell him it's clear to go as well, and. Like I say, everyone's out there. It's all done 2.5 seconds.
It's even like when you see it on telly. There's even 2 guys who stabilise the car.
It's car stabilisers.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's
how much you do in such a short time.
I was watching an old video from when I worked with Team Lotus the other day. There's a pit stop there, and I watched the car coming. It literally stopped. Then the guns went on. And then the guns come out, then the tyres again. And it was like sitting there about 5 seconds. Like, there's no fuel going in or anything.
So that was still in the no refuelling?
No, this is like 2011.
So that was Kimi Räikkönen? Was Kimi driving?
No. This was Team Green. It was Lotus Racing become Team Lotus, become Caterham.
Okay, yeah.
And then moved over from Norfolk to Leafield.
Right, okay.
But yeah, that's it. And so it's Jarno Trulli, Heikki Kovalainen back in 2011. But yeah, watching the pit stops then at 5 seconds, I'm thinking, really, they're not doing anything different to what we do now. It just shows the training that's gone into it and the advancements in the technology and that, how they...
So how did you go from making panels for the Formula 1 to actually changing the wheels?
Started off, done my apprenticeship at Marshall's Aerospace in Cambridge. So I'd do mechanic, sheet metal, contracted with that. Took me around the world a bit and sort of start drifting into composites a little bit, and sat there and thought, man, this composite stuff's quite easy. It's carbon fibre. It's just like metal that doesn't bend. You just make your shapes and fit it, and obviously start doing it more and more and get more and more practiced. Took me through various companies contracting and that's where I started Formula 1 end of 2010 with Lotus Racing. So yeah, it's sort of just one of those things that rolled and progressed. And
So how did you then go from like building the panels to actually in the?
You mean from factory side and all that? It's not really a natural. It's one of those things you either want to do or you don't. I suppose some people.
Is it something you volunteer for, or they ask you to do it?
One with Team Lotus, the 2 guys were leaving. I've been trackside a couple of times, and I thought, these guys have got it good. I like this, They go out there, they get fed and watered and hotel and everything. I thought this is all right. And it's nice. It's something a bit different. And I think this way you see the end product of everything you do.
Yeah.
So all those bits you do in the factory, you see why you're doing it, if you know what I mean. And you think, why am I making this? Why am I adjusting this panel and this bit to fit in here? And get there and see the end result of it. And it was nice to see, and I enjoyed doing it. Had another baby and sort of sat there in the factory for a bit, and they moved over to Leafield, where I stayed in Norfolk. And from that went on to Red Bull for sort of 3 years. And after that, after we fell out, I just went contracting again. So I built as the Neo EP9 electric vehicle. It went and got some lap record around the Nürburgring. I think for the electric cars it was not an overall. I know they were pushing for an overall. I don't quite know.
I think they categorise it under the electric,
Is that because they're too fast, or?
I just don't think you could. I think a lot of other manufacturers would probably get the ump if you said an electric car.
But is the electric ones faster than a normal petrol?
The thing is, it's the power delivery of them. It's just
instant torque
and constant.
Yeah. So electric car would be quicker than all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I test drove. I shouldn't really do an electric car, but these Teslas, and they're going on about, and they're still new at the time, and I thought, I want to give one of these a go. I mean, the first time, it's a bit of a story about it. We'd gone into a Tesla warehouse, me and my current wife, we were still fairly new dating at the time. We'd gone to Cambridge, looking around, and the guy's showing us around. He's like, what do you think's in the bar? It's the battery. He goes, well, where do you think the storage is? Well, I don't know, in the front. So it opens up, you go, see, there's quite a bit of room in there. And I looked in there, dead pan, I went, couldn't fit a dead prostitute in there, could you? My wife just sat there, creased laughing. The guy's like, well, once you buy it, it's up to you what you do with it. Probably thinking that poor girl's next and she doesn't even realise it.
Brilliant. But no, like you say about, we'll touch on this really quickly. I now work for Snap-on.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to go to America last year to visit our headquarters and stuff. And I've said this before in the podcast, but where we were staying in a hotel, another guest had a Tesla Plaid, which you don't get over here.
No.
The big fast one. And we got chatting with him. I probably flirted with him a little bit. And he was gracious enough to take us out for a spin in it. And I love my cars, and I've been in some fast cars, but there's nothing like that car on the planet.
No.
I can't describe how fucking fast that thing was.
Well, the one that I drove is a Model 3 dual motor.
Yeah.
And it was a few years after I'd seen that one in Cambridge, and I dared show my face in the showroom again.
It's on the wanted list.
And so released. I got in there, and it took me and two lads with me and my boys, and we'd taken out for a test drive around Cambridge, and we pulls up the lights up near Addenbrooke's Hospital there, near the M11. And this Aston Martin's pulled up next to us, and I'm thinking, yeah, I like this. And he's sitting there revving an engine, the boys are gawping out the window at it, and I thought, right, watch this then. And that's it, light's gone green, I've hit the go pedal, and that's it. It's just the delivery of power, and it's gone, and this Aston Martin's still sitting there at the lights. And I thought, wow, this thing does go, but
you got to appreciate. You have to appreciate the speed that they go.
I appreciate the speed they go. I don't appreciate that you can only go so far, and then you got to wait around 45 minutes while it charges up. Where I can get there in my car, I can put a bit of fuel in there, 5 minutes. I've gone to the toilet, got myself a coffee, and I'm still down the road before they're still standing there twiddling their thumbs waiting for the charge.
we've said this. We can appreciate them, but the country needs to do more to make sure that they can be more mainstream.
Yeah.
But
it's one of those things, they do just go, and you get that, and you remember it as a child, the first time you get in a car is quick, and it pins you back in the seat, and that little grin that you get, and I enjoy it, but it's still electric, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still electric.
I've said this before.
It's the sound.
It's the sound. That's what I would miss. If everything went electric and we weren't allowed to drive petrol cars, I'd
That's what my wife says. She used to love them at the bedroom at the front of the house. And she goes, always knew when you was home, because I'd hear you come round the Audi, and I see down the road, accelerate, turn it round and come back. So it's the sound of it. It's just
my boys tell me every morning, I leave work at 7:30, and he said every morning I'd start my engine up, and it's like, he said everything rumbles.
Yeah.
And he said it makes me chuckle, and I was like, there's nothing I can do. I have to start it, and I have to drive down the road. But he said I quite like it. He said it makes me smile every morning when I hear it. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's
the neighbours don't. But no, obviously staying on the Formula One side of things. So have you ever had any sort of like mishaps? Because the pressure that you must have while that car's pulled into the pit stop. Bearing in mind you've only got 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, most of the things I do that's like exciting, it only lasts 2 or 3 seconds.
No, I suppose we was involved in one that's back in 2011. Flat rear tyre. Jack couldn't get in, so I was still new to it. I used to do the spare rear jack, so I'd come in, jack the car up, and sent it out and that. But I mean, it's not really a mishap. That's just one of those things that's part of the course.
Yeah.
I've done it a few times. I go to put the wheel on, because I used to do it on the right, and then I've moved over to the left because the guy doing the left preferred the right, and I'm really not fussed what I do.
It's a wheel at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's just I think it's getting your feet right and being able to put it on the other way. And some people can't do one side; they're just the brain doesn't work.
No, it makes sense.
And the feet move that way. But yeah, I've done it a few times. You come and you've hit the axle stub there, and sort of when you're coming in fairly quick with that wheel, it does bounce you back a bit, but luckily I've never had anything bad that we couldn't recover in this sort of under 3 seconds, really.
With a mishap like that in Formula One, you can say you've had a mishap, but 99% of the people who are watching wouldn't know that you've had the mishap. The only way you'd know about it is when Ted Kravitz on the commentary on Sky would go, "Oh, that's a terrible pit stop," and it's taken 4 seconds.
Yeah.
But with the kind of the pressure you guys are under to get the fastest pit stops and all that, it's 4 seconds is slow. It's woeful. It's, do you know what I mean? But you've done your mistake, but you rectified it literally within a second. Yeah. So it's really quick.
Well, the thing is, you train and train and train for it, and they're like training the factory twice a day at the minute, and you're doing it all the way up until we building the car and that, and because at HAAS we have to work away. We build the car in Italy, so Ferrari then come and put the engine in there and the gearbox, and we've got the chassis. It all goes together, and then.
Is it a Toyota engine used now?
No, it's still the Ferrari engine.
Oh, okay.
HAAS are they're like a customer of Ferrari, so I don't know quite how it works, but you buy bits from Ferrari, don't you?
Yeah. So we'll pay for the engines and gearbox. Ferrari, they come with their own little group of people who work with us throughout the weekend to get things done.
Yeah.
We've obviously got Toyota as a sponsor now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we'll see some Toyotas at work, get out in one of those little...
GI Yaris's.
Yeah, that's it. That would be great fun, that.
So eventually, will you go over to a Toyota engine or not?
I know nothing.
That's another pay grade in Formula One, mate.
Only because I was watching doing some stalking research, and they were saying about the YouTube video I was watching, saying that this is Toyota's foot to get in the door, I suppose.
I've seen that as well, but all I know is the carbon's black, and that's what I work on.
No, the funny thing with Formula One is like Infiniti and Aston Martin sponsored Red Bull at a time as well. Yeah. But it doesn't necessarily mean that an engine is going to go into it. It's it's a corporate partnership. And whatever. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, while we're talking about sponsoring and that, we've got some stickers here for our guests.
If you can stick it on the car for
If you can stick one on the car,
I did see someone stick the sling car on once, and it didn't end well for them.
No, I bet it didn't.
Well, just try.
The Formula One car's like real estate.
I know. I think Coca-Cola has just started sponsoring McLaren.
Okay.
Honest to God, the sticker's not even as big as that. And somebody did mention the other day how much it was. It was in the millions.
Yeah, it's millions.
You'd never see it unless you was like looking and standing next to it. So I don't think that's a good enough excuse, really. It's fine. Don't have to if you don't want to.
So I'm sure people who are watching, Drive to Survive has really kind of like glamorised Formula One over the recent years and everything like that, and it makes it look very glamorous, flamboyant, A-list celebs draped all around the place.
It's if you're a driver or a team principal.
Exactly. I was going to say, for you guys, is it literally trackside hotel, sleep, trackside hotel? Yeah, if a car crashes, you repair it, and there's a reality to the glamour.
There is a reality. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's not many jobs that are going to pay and take you around the world and feed and water you 3 times a day and all that. You get to see a bit more so now than you used to in previous years with the new curfews that they've got in, and the curfew times got like the first time I'd done a race, the curfew was like. Something's ridiculous, like 6 hours. So by the time you got back to the hotel, showered, got to sleep, you're up a few hours later and you're going back in. Yeah. But it was brought in because teams were keeping their people there 24/7.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it sort of gives you a bit of a rest from the track, and you've got a couple of jokers you can play a year. And then when it went to the new curfew, I mean, we're getting nearly 12 hours off now, which is quite nice. But you're still doing that same amount of work, but just in more condensed. Yeah. It sort of makes the engineers stick to what they've decided on. But everything has to be a bit more decisive. They can't do that, have a look and see how that's all going and that. Obviously, you've got the shorter practice sessions, so everyone's got to be on the ball, really. Yeah.
So with HAAS, and obviously there was a very famous crash a few years ago. Were you out trackside when?
I wasn't. No, I was still in the factory then.
Okay.
I've obviously done some track bits then. That was 2020, wasn't it? So
2020.
During COVID.
Yeah.
So
as a bloke, we saw the reactions. I watch it live. I try to watch every Formula One race live, irrespective of the time or whatever. But that's one of the moments, other short of Senna dying and stuff like that. That is literally one of the.
It's an iconic moment.
It's a speechless moment. Do you know it, where Grosjean crashed?
Is that one
The big fireball thing.
Yeah.
For somebody who works for the team, where your driver's just crashed, and you think, shit, he could be dead. How do you? What happened to you? How did that make you feel?
I was at home. I see that. I think our physio Faith, you see her reaction where it's literally hand over the mouth, and I think that summed it up for everyone. It's just that shock.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching that home, I just thought, that's it. Shit, he's dead. He's dead. He's not getting out of there.
Yeah.
And like you're seeing no movement. It's just this fireball. And you think, well, that's the first one since Senna.
Yeah.
You know, at the track, and I'm thinking, shit, this is the team I work for.
Yeah.
That's it, you know, and like, and then you just see him get up there and coming out of that.
It was amazing, wasn't it? Was it just his hands that he burned?
Hands and feet, I think.
Yeah, it was like hardly
picked
anything,
up
wasn't it, really?
few burns, but it's like watching just how he went in and just how that car just split into pieces and everything like that. The engine just separated. It's all how the barrier was. It just a little bit further back for it may have happened completely differently.
Yeah.
Just at that point,
It's
he
just
went
a really
through.
unfortunate sequence of events.
Yeah, the
wasn't it?
halo that everyone had sort of, and we all hated it because there's another thing you fit into the car, and they didn't look as good as they did when they were full open cockpit.
But it saved his
without the
life.
halo. It saved his life, and you think, I can really appreciate that halo now. But I think his boot's actually still in the car now.
Oh, really?
Melted to the
Because
pedal.
his car is now an ornament, isn't it? In there's a Formula One.
There's like a museum.
Museum place. In London, wherever it goes. And his car is a museum piece now.
Yeah.
And I just find it epic because my wife and I were watching that, and that 15 or 18 seconds where the TV naturally has to cut away because it potentially could be a tragedy.
Yeah.
But you think that 15 seconds, it felt like an eternity. It was madness, absolute madness. And,
I mean, well, that's it. I mean, obviously at the track they've got the radio communication.
Yeah.
Obviously, Roman wouldn't have been saying anything at that
No.
point. He was more thinking about, how the hell am I going to get out of here? But yeah, obviously they get bits, so they'll have heard before, would have seen it on the TV that is out and that. But yeah, just watching him when he come out of there is the relief and that, and that, like you say, 15, 18 seconds. It was huge.
Yeah.
Even though you're not there, it's just because that's your team. It's your team, mate.
Yeah.
And you're watching it happen. It was horrific to watch. But yeah, you see him. He jumps. He is missing a shoe when he jumps out, and those things are tight. So that's still welded to the pedal. And
That's nuts. So which driver car do you work on? Which one at the minute?
at the minute, this season it'll be Oliver Behrman.
Ollie Behrman. Okay.
As far as I'm aware.
I think he might do good things for you guys.
I hope so. I mean, he's showed promise.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a couple of races. I think Brazil. A lot of experienced drivers struggled in that. So we brought the car home.
Yeah. That's all you can ask
And
for, really.
in those conditions, I think that was an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
But obviously, Baku, he got a couple of points there.
Yeah.
A point. So yeah, rookie season, drove the car 3 times, got points for Ferrari, points for us, and finished in a monsoon.
It's not a couple of bad lines on the CV, is it?
No,
Little
it
rookie
looks
driver,
alright,
little
but
standing driver.
I think he's got something about him, and obviously fingers crossed. I hope he does really well. I think he's definitely got potential. It's the reason Ferrari take people on like
Absolutely.
that, isn't it?
So whose car were you on last year?
Last year I was on Nico's.
Okay.
So I've done a couple of seasons on Nico, Mick Schumacher before that, and before that worked on Magnussen's car.
Okay.
Before he departed.
Do you have a favourite?
What, all time?
Driver.
Or just driver? The one that brings home the points.
Good. That's a good
Corporate.
good corporate answer. No, that's brilliant. What was I going to say? Have you followed Formula One all your life then? Because you've said you've gone in like composites and it was, I'll try my hand at Formula One through your experience in previous roles. But have you always been an F1 fan or?
I remember watching it from a really young age with my dad. I remember watching that whole weekend at Imola with Senna and remember seeing that as probably one of my earlier memories of watching it. But because I remember watching, week after week, there'd be drivers having accidents and that. I think as a young kid, it's like, wow, look at that, this is great.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is not so great.
No.
So I always sort of followed it. I remember working in aerospace, and Guy said he was going to work at Lola, and his aim was to get into Formula One. I'm thinking, well, yeah, we can do that from his aerodynamics the other way up. Surely our skills are transferable somewhere. And I wouldn't say set my sights firmly on it, but thought I'd take the opportunity if it come up.
Yeah.
And I suppose through hard work and pushing myself, I've got the opportunity to get where I am.
Good for you.
So last question before we go back to our question. When you had your time at Red Bull, before you went away, did you have anything to do with Adrian Newey? Because I kind of hold that fella on a pedestal.
Oh, he's like a god.
I've read, exactly. I've read his books. I listen to all the podcasts. I've even sort of like copied pictures of off the internet with like engineering drawings that he's done.
You got a problem.
I've got a boner as well. But he's a scaled down version of God, and what he can do with the cars and what he did for Red Bull is incredible. Yeah. But his whole career is brilliant. Did you ever have much?
I saw him a couple of times. I worked night shift there. But, obviously, your involvement, because the drawings come down from him, and we're building what's the result of what he's done. He designs quickly.
Yeah.
And they come through and the changes we used to make, so predominantly I'll be on the floors and the change would come down, it'd be a little twist or a little flick or something like that, and you're just changing pieces all the time to go to certain tracks. So his attention to detail to see those little bits and understand, like from what I understand, he literally can see the aero of a car and that.
It's amazing how much something so small, just changing it.
I remember
affects the race.
One weekend, I can't remember where we were going, but they'd decided we're taking these bits off the floor, and the old ones back then, so we were back 2013, 14, changing these bits on the back of the floor, and these little spiral bits went in there, just little kicks on there, which went from just a little shape like that, then a bit more of a spiral, and the little magnesium parts.
Yeah.
And they're like this, £1,200 a corn, like each side. And I'm like, what difference is this really going to make? And I was told, well, if you got it, flaunt it.
Fair enough.
Super. But no, I think modern day Formula One cars, and again, I've done a lot of work in Formula One in my previous role. Yeah. Sadly, I never got into Red Bull because I lost a bid on that, but that's another story for another time. But HAAS, when they bought that facility in Banbury, I fitted a few bits in the stores and shelving and cabinets and stuff like that. So
it's still there.
It's still there, I know.
You done a good job, well done.
Thank you. So yeah, I have I hold a deep love for HAAS because of who they were and
what you're trying to say is that it's down to you.
No, because I did a lot of work for Mercedes as well. So when they did their whole complete site refurbishment, the company I worked for, I kind of was project manager for that. So what I'm trying to get is a modern day Formula One car when you can get up close, and I think not a lot of the general public can. So I feel quite fortunate I've done it. It's like a combination of engineering, science, and it's almost art as well. You can, particularly with the engine cover off the back and certain bits exposed, you just think, why is that there? But every part is absolutely crucial to that car going.
I do think the designers, some of them do have that artistic flair to get all these parts in such a condensed space, and there's a little gap there, I can get that in there, in there, and obviously keeping things as low down as possible for weight. And
But then equally, you're working within a set of regulations as well, aren't you? So you can't fart ass about, double diffusers and blown exhausts.
Yeah, your car's got to fit in.
It's got to fit in this parameter sort of thing, but they're just science, art, and I just adore them. I just think they're just wonderful bits of kit.
Yeah.
And I'll never fully understand how they work, but yeah, they're just brilliant. No, I'm sure most people won't. But going back onto our questions, and we might jump onto Formula One again a bit later. If you were to win the lottery tomorrow, Euro Millions, X amount of hundreds of millions, do you have a 5 dream car garage that would suit your life right now.
I thought you were going to say, what do you do in Formula 1? I was going to say, I'll probably go bizzo over there for at least a year.
No, five cars.
5 cars.
That will suit your life. So
There's a Vauxhall in it.
5
Yeah.
Safaras.
There's definitely no Safiras or, dare I say, any Vauxhalls in there. I think I'll go for an R8.
Yeah.
okay, V10 plus.
I'd just be happy to have an
Have an
R8.
R8, fair enough.
They've come down loads in price.
They
haven't
have.
The early ones have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one of the lads at work, he was talking about getting one, I think a track car or something, but
An R8 as a track car. Brilliant.
They're paying you too much.
well, no, he does a lot of racing outside of work as well. So
Okay.
it's going to be, he does I don't know, semi-pro. He's competitive
Yeah.
anyway. So,
Oh, cool.
but I think he was on about one of them. But it's going to be a track car, or he was going to drive it, and it's his Sunday car. But
Yeah.
definitely have one of them.
Cool.
I'd like an A7 just because I want one.
Okay,
I
cool.
want the 3 litre. There's an Audi thing going on instead of the Vauxhall thing. Now, isn't there?
This is you maturing, I think.
And when we're talking about it, could be any car, any
Yeah,
era, any country. There's no
tell you what
there's
I
no
would have.
limit to it.
I'd have a Countach.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the one that was on the posters growing up as a kid,
Yeah.
really, wasn't
Well,
it?
so I see the one from what was that, Wolf of Wall Street a
Yeah.
little while ago. It's all smashed up, and that
Yeah.
they had that outside one of the circuits.
It was an auction at Dubai. Was it It was in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, it was Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
One
the
that
actual
smashed
car
up.
was auctioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see that there, and even though it's in sort of a bit bent, it's a lovely looking car.
I think it sold for an exorbitant amount as well.
Did it?
Yeah, I think it went for like £1 million or something.
What, smashed up?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think for fun, I'd have an Ariel Atom.
Oh,
that would be
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
mean,
think I've said that.
it's like a go kart.
It is, yeah.
You could have so much fun in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go back. They are like the newer ones are like mini F1 cars because they put a
Yeah.
front. They put a front wing on it
Yeah.
and the big wing at the back. Yeah, they're awesome cars.
What else?
You got one more.
One more. I don't know why I like them. I like those big pickups. So
Okay.
I like the American ones. Like you get the
You got one F-150, haven't you?
150,
And
yeah.
then you
I mean, an F-150 in America is kind of the baby,
Yeah, it is
baby
small.
of the truck.
But like you know those big
The Dodge Ram
Dodge
type
Ram.
things.
That
Yeah.
sort of. I'd love one of those sort of things.
It's big,
Chris got to drive
ostentatious.
one the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
we're doing the Hellcat, I went in Matt's thing and just went up with my own.
No, because I like it when we go to the States and that we get the big Cruiser Suburban things and that, and inside I think, is it really nice?
Yeah.
But I just love the pickup version. You see them about, think, yeah, I could rock that with two wheels at the
Yeah,
at
two
each
at
side
the
of
back,
the back,
yeah.
and I think I could rock one of these. This would be great, but
I think everyone said an American pickup truck.
Yeah.
no, even if you got that money, you still need to do a tip run. That's just practical.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, you can justify it, can't you, when you got
Yeah.
to do a tip run?
Brilliant. In your driving life, have you had any points?
Yes.
Okay, we've got a competition going with how many points you've had
I've not
collectively.
got as many as you.
No. I've been a fucking terror on the roads, but or really unlucky. But how many points have you had in your driving career thus far?
I had 5 in Canada. 8 in Canada.
Do they still count over here?
No.
No, I think if we do that, because this is our first abroad
Yeah.
points as well. So should
Well,
we...
I lived out there. I worked at Bombardier in Montreal.
Okay.
And I picked up 5 for speed, and I was doing 180 kilometres an hour and 100. But by the time the police had sort of done this 5-car sweep across the road, they clocked me at about 147.
Okay.
So yeah, that was in a Chrysler.
So what was the speed
Chrysler
limit?
Neon, 100 kilometres an hour,
And you were doing 100...
180.
So 100 kilometres is 62 miles an hour.
Oh, okay.
So 180 would probably be 110, 115, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's going to be around the 110
You
figure.
you doing a calculation?
What, in a 60?
No, in 100 kilometre. Yeah, no, in a 60, yeah.
60, yeah.
Yeah, so that's...
That's 50 miles an hour for the limit.
Yeah.
Well
So
done.
what was 147 you were clocked at?
147 they clocked
Can
me
you
at.
Google 147 kilometres, Chris?
Yeah.
That's quite impressive, actually.
Yeah.
I think it'd be about 115 if my maths is correct.
No, I'm into that. I'll carry on talking.
I'll do it while you're
I'll
talking.
listen to him go, and he hasn't got his specs
I've
on.
got games.
It's not a huge amount over. I've never actually been caught at what I've
Haven't you? You're lucky then.
No, I've only ever been caught lower than what I may have been doing.
It's 91.
91.
Yeah. So actually, he is winning in over the speed limit tally. Like mine was 26.
What you were caught on.
So you're now 31 miles an hour over the speed limit. So straight to the top.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very lucky that there was some sort of big loud bang and a thing nearby, and the guy literally threw the ticket and then they had to go. I then got caught 150 and a 70, but the police bike, when he caught me up, he knew I was speeding, but he could only book me for a certain speed where he'd seen me doing when he caught me.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got 5 points for the first offence, 3 for the second.
Okay, so that's 8 points.
8 points. I've had many speeding fines through Europe, but they keep changing the speed limits. But over here...
And the speeding fines in Europe, it's just more give money over and
I think from what I understand, they can, if they want to pursue it, chase you down and put the points on here.
Okay.
Oh, right, okay.
But I think it's a lot of faff for them. And obviously you're only going a little bit over because it's unintentional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I got one from... It started last year. I got one from Barcelona from the year before. It just taken about 7 months to get to me.
To find you.
Yeah, I was so pissed off about it. And I was driving out in Italy and I said, right, that's it. I'm not getting caught again. That's it. And I'm being really careful. And I've gone into one of the villages and not clocked the change of the speed limit and got caught again straight away. And that's it. And a month before that, I'd just been caught in me wife's Duke that she had.
Oh,
so I got 3 points for that one.
You deserve 3 points.
So we're 11. How many points was the Barcelona one?
Barcelona didn't get anything for that, so that's a fine.
Okay.
I got caught 3 times in Belgium, but one of those times I was still in Hungary. So, and I think the other two, and they
How
come.
How fast are you going?
And that was only I was on holiday this year. I got a email from travel saying you've been caught 3 times. There's a fine. Oh no, there's a letter at home. I said, I contacted the travel and went, well, that day I was still in Hungary.
Yeah.
I said, and them two, we're at the other end of the country. I said, but only just landed. And I think it had been the company that let the vehicles out. Maybe they'd been caught prior to handing them over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, didn't get nothing there. Let's see what I get. I think I've had 12 points all in all in England.
Including the 8, excluding the 8.
Excluding the 8, yeah.
So that's 20 in total.
20 in
That's not
total.
bad going,
But
really?
so the thing is, in Canada, they run up to I don't know if it's still up to 15 points before it's a licence loser.
Okay.
So if you used to lose your licence in Canada, would you lose your licence here as well?
I wouldn't tell them.
No, that's like if you go on holiday and you get a speeding ticket, you just fuck off on the plane and pretend you've never done it. Okay, so we'll classify that as a whole, so that's 20 points.
Yeah.
So that's second. Next question. What's the fastest you've ever been in a car, driver or passenger?
Driver in a Vauxhall. Is that Cesaro?
Okay.
Czech Republic, going back to the north of Holland, Christmas before I come back home. The clock only went to 160, and I was racing going right past Frankfurt. I remember it was going past Frankfurt Airport, and this Mercedes up alongside me. I'm already doing about 120, just like pushing. All right then. So off we went, and I got up to hit the 155, and that's it. He's hit his limiter at 155. I've then kept going. Looking at the clock, it's off the clock at 160.
Brilliant.
And I'm looking at the fuel gauge, just doing that, and I'm thinking, okay, right, just go a little bit further. So he knows I'm beating him, and I'm in a 10-year-old Cavalier here doing well over 160 miles an hour, so I'm backing out of this one.
So 10%. We'll say near on 170 for that then, I think.
Yeah. Well, is that the fastest or you've been a passenger?
No, that's the fastest I've been, yeah.
That's good going. In a
Yeah,
Vauxhall
that's
as well.
very good going. Yeah, that's really good going. I think with your stories from your speeding, he's kind of covered some funny car-related stories because there was some funny shit in that.
Yeah.
Have you got any other non-speeding car-related funny stuff that springs to mind that you can tell us? You've turned left and the car's gone right, or you've driven into a field, or run over a sheep.
That's a bit of a... It was one like a Lance Strong move or something, turned the wrong way. No, never anything Got run over in an empty car park. Things you do when you're 18 with your mates, and imagine empty Tesco car park on a Sunday night. Imagine run me over and break my leg.
Oh, gee.
Nice.
They got me 6 weeks off work paid, so that was all right.
What ran you over? What car?
A Nova SR.
Oh,
1400.
Yeah.
Lovely.
That's not
But
bad.
it's just a fracture down the shin, but it's 6 weeks spent fishing.
6 weeks off work. Superb.
Right, what's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done to a car? Customising way.
Customising. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's see. I'm a Cavalier. I had a big sticker in the back that said "No cunts on me, drugstable." When they pulled me over, eventually, the cop said, "We've been down in Surrey." So I was working at Gatwick at the time. He said, "We've been looking for you for quite a while." I says, "What have I done?" He goes, "It's the sticker in the back of your car. It's been reported quite a few times." He says, "I can see." There's a younger cop where he says, "I can see the funny side of it. I see, yeah, it can be seen offensive." He goes, "But some people, they don't like it." He says, "So can you remove a couple of the offensive letters?" So I asked if the N and the O would be okay. But yeah, so I've done that. And then Minova, there's that laser blue that they do. It's a horrible normal car. I just sort of start pimping up bits. So I put the SR grille in there, I put the SR front bumper on there. And I out the old rattle can from Halford's, done it all in blue and lacquered it. And it looked all right. Well, I thought it looked all right when I was 18. But then you got that, once I'd done it, there's that grey trim that sit around the bottom of it and all around the grille. So I thought, well, I'm going to do the middle bits of the grille blue. I do the outside like in a banana yellow. And then so all this car was just like blue and banana yellow. But then I neglected the back and just drove that around normal. So, yeah, that when I look back, I just sit there and think, what was I doing?
We've all done that though, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've all done something to a car that you almost stand back and look at it and think, God, that's really good. And then 10 years down the line, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, so you think, so you got your big sub in the back and your Infinity speakers and that's banging around as you drive around the town centre and you think, yeah, look at me, everyone. They're looking at you, but not for the reason you want them to be looking at.
Best movie car chase that springs to mind?
Best movie car chase. Funny enough, we were on about this at work earlier. Ronin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was what
That's
we said.
that's been one of the ones that I said.
BMW and a Peugeot, what a car chase.
Yeah. Super.
But it's one of the young lads there, we're telling them about it, never seen it, so we got it up on YouTube. And it's the handbrake turn he does, and
I need to. I haven't seen that for a long time, to be honest with you. But in my brain, it's always registered as just fantastic.
I remember that's the first time I watched it. The bit that stood out for me, I can't even remember the story now, but all I remembered was that car chase.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that's never forgotten. Whenever anyone's asked me, I've just gone,
straight away.
That's just great.
And that, to the point where I was the same for many years, and then Baby Driver come out, and that I don't know whether that's a better car chase or whether it's just filmed better, because obviously
there's probably 20 years between them, so it's probably a combination of the two.
So,
but there's a film, I think it's called Taxi. It's a French film.
Yeah, I know. We discussed
with
that one as well.
The Peugeot 4S.
Press a little button and like a transformer, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's got some of the best driving I think I've seen. And I forgot to mention that, but if you've seen it,
Another one I like, a bit unrealistic, is that second Kingsman film in the taxi at the start.
Yes.
I mean that was just great. I loved that.
I tell you, one of the best for film, I'd say, is it's got Charlie Theron, is it? What's her name? The really sexy one.
Charlie Theron.
Yeah. And she does a film where they do like a one take scene, and the camera goes. It starts off as a fight on a stairwell, and they're fighting all the way down. Then it goes into a car, and the camera does not stop. It's fantastic. But you see the car chase from inside the car, so it's not as impressive as. But it's just the way it's filmed, and what they do while they're in the car is phenomenal. And the fact it's all one take, so the camera never turns off, and obviously it probably does, but they just edit it in such a way. Really, really cool.
Cool. When you passed your driving test, did you pass first time? If not, you did.
Yeah.
Cool. He's up on the list, mate.
Yeah. Not all of us managed to do that.
We'll go back to Formula One. Have you got a favourite car in Formula One?
In my one.
Your one. Fair enough.
No, I mean, I think you got to like the old JPS Lotus.
Yeah, I think you have.
Yeah, that was done.
It's an iconic car. Another one I always think of was the Rothmans Williams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That was. I remember back then. It's like I remember having a little model of it as well, and thinking, I mean, you look at them now and you're thinking, they look nothing like them now. They look really good again.
Yeah.
But you look at them back then, you're thinking, the aerodynamics. Yeah, they were there, but not like they are now.
No,
It's come a long way, hasn't it?
It's seeing a little bit of the inside of F1, how they get like the modelling of the cars before they go into the wind tunnel and all the CFD and stuff like that. It's astonishing the lengths you guys go to produce the scale model to then go in the wind tunnel to then produce it in a full scale size, and what you replicate there more often than not works on the track. I'm a brainy bloke, but I'm thick as shit when it comes to how that works. I can't understand. I can almost get like one guy could design it and do that, but when you've got this team of, I mean, you go the likes of Red Bull, you can be talking hundreds of guys, but where we're at HAAS, we've got not as many guys. Yeah, we're a lot smaller team, and you've still got this small group of guys, and they all do their own little bit, and it all just comes together.
And it works.
Get in there and they test it. It works or it doesn't, and they can tweak it and fine tune it as a team. So that's the thing. They'll almost hand that over, and the next guys will do a bit, report back. They'll just make their tweaks. Goes back, checks it works, and then it goes out. And they make these moulds off of these bits and the parts from them to where you're bolting it on the car and sending it out on the track. And
so how does it work? Does everybody get the same mould of a car? And then you have to just tweak it to your own style.
You get a blank bit of paper, you go away, that's your parameters and...
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
They're your regulations, you've got to design your bits
within
in there. So
certain measurements.
So start with your safety cell, chassis, cockpit. Mm-hmm. Obviously it has to go through its crash test pre-season from sides and squeezes and front. And you've got to have your nose. Your nose is a crash structure, so they'll crumple up the right amount and it decelerate a car.
So is there a lot of copying? So say
yeah.
Is it? If somebody comes up with a good idea that by the next season everybody else is doing it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or does that happen during the season?
No, it happens all the time.
Does it?
I know it's when Brawn were doing their thing. I think Red Bull developed this as a newie one. I think he wanted to go with this double diffuser thing, and they got told no, they couldn't. And then next thing, it was on the Brawn.
Yeah.
I don't know the full ins and outs of it. This is obviously a bit before I got there, but I know the stories from other guys who've worked there and that. And I think they got round it with using, because they do manipulate the wording and that.
Yeah, there's very, very clever people involved. Like, there's a loophole. So you can read a brief or a regulation, but somebody will read it and analyse it like a different way and still make what is effectively an illegal part legal
because
on the car because they've kind of gone around it a slightly different way. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
I think there's that one though. That is where Newey had seen it, gone after it, and his, from what I got told, his words were, "They've left the door ajar, we're going to kick the fucking thing in."
Yeah.
And then they went and absolutely wiped the floor with everyone for about 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So...
Oh, shit.
But the thing is, Brawn were doing it on a shoestring budget. Like, the story of Brawn is, Ross Brawn brought the then defunct Honda team for £1.
Yeah.
Right. And, took on all the debt and everything, had to lay off a load of people, had no engine supplier, so he went begging to Mercedes to be an engine supplier, and then literally shoehorned it into this chassis and ultimately won the championship that year. It's kind of it's almost like a rags to riches type story, isn't it?
It's a Hollywood story.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why Keanu Reeves did there's a documentary of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the race bays I designed for Mercedes are in the background as well. So I'm quite proud of that as well.
So I think we've got another Formula 1 film this year, haven't we?
Get Barry's head in it.
Yeah.
And then the Brad Pitt one.
Yeah, Brad Pitt. It's the Apple one. So we've seen them filming bits of that. They do it at the track while we're there, so they've got a whole garage, so they're all set up there, and they've been there at the start of the race. And
so is that film based on that story, or?
I don't know. I don't know the premise of it. I know sort of rough bits from what you see on the internet, but then you see them filming bits, and
It looks amazing.
we have to get involved in bits.
It's quite surreal because I've been to several Silverstone races, and I went to one in 2023.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you see the whole Formula One kind of parade and everything, but then there's this car with all cameras on it, and it's Brad Pitt's car.
Yeah.
And then they kind of stop proceedings, and Brad Pitt's filming a little bit there as well. And it's weird to have a film being made almost on the side of
It's clever.
of the thing, where Drive to Survive is like the fly on the wall type thing.
Yeah.
But I think the production of that's got better and better and better since they've started it, and it's fucking brilliant.
I do find it can be a bit manipulative.
Massively.
As well.
It's hugely edited.
Yeah.
But one thing I think it's shone a light on is Gunter Steiner. I think he is. I'm going to see him this year actually in his stand up because my wife brought me tickets for Christmas for the stand up.
I wanted to go and sit there and heckle him.
But he's brilliant, isn't he? And
he's a good laugh. He's a good guy to be around.
And he does a podcast now every Wednesday with a couple of Americans. It's called the Red Flag Pod. I shouldn't really promote other podcasts. No, it's really shit. But Gunther Steiner's on it, and his voice is just wonderful. He's just got such a brilliant voice.
Yeah.
And the way he portrays everything is just he's brilliant.
Very animated.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. Animated.
Yeah, I mean he was good to have there. He was a good laugh, and you could build because it's such a small team. Everyone had a relationship with everyone.
Yeah.
So, and back then, Gunnar interviewed every single member of staff that came into the team.
Did he really?
So so he knew who everyone was.
That's brilliant.
So the first time I got to the track, he knew who I was, and he'll always make a point of coming over and saying hello and that.
That's nice.
And he wasn't too big for anyone.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've moved on from there, and it was. I feel the time was right, obviously, to make a change in direction.
Yeah.
He'd started the team; he'd done really well.
Yeah.
But we needed, I think, just a change in direction, the change of how we were thinking and going. Otherwise, probably have continued down the same trajectory. And it wasn't just Gunter; there was other people that had to change and changed in design. It changed the philosophy of how they done the car and pushed. And
but in the last year, it worked, didn't it? You were consistently scoring points as well. So
I mean, with IO there, it's like Gene said, just we got engineering from like the core of the team now.
Yeah.
So it's worked, and it's been a really successful year, and another one, please.
Well, I think that is a great reason why there's like an affection for Haas. It's like Mercedes have got 2,000 odd people, and when I did work for them, it felt very. Don't get me wrong, they're a great team. I respect them hugely, but it's very German. It was very cold. Sterile, exactly the word. Everything, all the work I did for them was black and white, and it was very clinical. I know Formula One is very clinical, and if you've ever been to the McLaren Technology Centre, that's like a laboratory.
Yeah.
Whereas Haas felt more like, when I did it, it was like a group of lads with having a bit of a giggle and a bit of a laugh.
And do you know what? Fundamentally, it still is. And I will say, through every team, it's the same.
Yeah.
And everyone moves within the teams and that. And it is, at the end of the day, you're out there, you do have a laugh, you work hard. But when you get the reward from it, like we did, and some people might go seventh isn't much reward, but when you've got such a small
where you come from,
amount of people.
But what that means in terms of financial gain for the team as well,
huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
So I see the other day that you're getting a simulator. Is that right?
Probably.
Oh, you don't know?
Inside scoop from Russell.
I don't know. I just carbon.
Well, obviously, apparently your team's getting the simulator, and it's going to help your drivers learn the tracks better.
I think I heard bits that are going on. We are developing stuff, and I think, from what I understand, they're hoping to move and build it more. We've just opened a like heritage department, so they'll concentrate on running like show cars. So you got Toyota will want to put their Toyota drivers in it and do like a little demo day and things like that.
I was going to say, would you get to drive the simulator or not? Would they let anyone just drive it?
At Red Bull, I never even saw the simulator. I knew it was in a room and it was like some close guarded thing.
It's one of the closest guarded
Is it?
Rooms, yeah.
Oh, right,
I did. Sorry to go back onto Mercedes. I did work in the simulator area for Mercedes, but the simulator is kind of almost behind. It feels like a safe wall, and it's heavily guarded by the fact that if the door's shut, you can't go anywhere near it because it's so top secret. Because it's like the difference between, say, the HAAS one and the Mercedes one or the Ferrari one could be the difference of how well the guys do on track and stuff like that. But they're so fucking advanced.
But I was going to say that we're getting a Xbox 360 with the Top Gear track, and it was supposed to be ready now.
I'm surprised you don't do Silverstone because it's just like there.
I would love to.
We should do, actually.
If we take off, maybe.
But yeah, what we wanted to do is get our guests to, race the track, but we haven't set up yet. So would you come back in the future and do it? Yeah, that's cool.
There was one time when Magnussen got a pole.
Yes,
in Brazil?
Yeah.
Were you at trackside?
I was there. Yeah.
How did that feel? Were you here? Were you on his team? Were you on his,
I was on
his car?
Mixed car.
You're on mixed car. But how did that feel as a team?
You're still
to get
a team
pole?
because at the end of the day, even though your cars are out there, everyone works together to put those two cars on the track. So with composites, there's two of us out the back, and we'll prepare everything for both cars as a team. So we'll go out there, and it's a team effort, and you celebrate as a team. Same as if a result where we're coming sixth, like we've done this season, it's still a team effort, and you're all out there. But that pole, we knew with the car and what it was capable of, we're not going to hold. I was surprised we made it past the first corner, still in first place, but we ended up with a couple of three laps.
It was pissing rain that weekend as well,
And I think he done well to stay ahead as long as he did, but we ultimately knew that the tyres weren't going to hold out for, as well as some of the other cars might, and we knew that we'd done that on merit. That's the thing. We'd sent our car out at the right time, right at the start of the session. So with the first car out, so we got the driest conditions just as it started to rain. So everyone's conditions just got worse and worse as they're coming around those last bits. So once the first few cars and you see the order and you think, hey, we're going to do a thing here. And then the whole thing get red flagged and that because rain got heavy and we're sitting there and like, no one can get back out now. This is great. This is
your pole.
This is us. We're going to do this. So that was epic, a hell of a feeling. Yeah,
I'll bet. But one thing I've always wanted to know about F1 is you see rivalries between drivers on the same team.
Yeah.
I think when Danny Ricciardo drove up the arse of Max in Azerbaijan or other ones that I can't quite. How does driver animosity or falling out, how does that affect the team, or doesn't it?
It's kept behind, certainly with our team, it's kept behind closed doors. I know we had the incident 2019, Grosjean and Magnussen hit each other, Silverstone sort of first 1-2, that was the Fox smash door incident.
That's right,
I don't know how it was between the drivers then, but we certainly heard nothing about it. We obviously knew something was going on. We knew that Gunter had called them up there and stay away, and we've seen it where he's called other drivers up there and something's going on and you stay away from that area. But I think it sort of doesn't tend to affect you. Just concentrate on getting your job, because at the end of the day, no matter what's going on there,
you've still got your job.
99.1% of the time, it's those two drivers getting in them cars and going out on the track. And
I think the one I was referring to, which I remembered, was when Nico and Lewis were racing together, and they started off as the best of friends, but then they got more and more tension between them at the end of it, and it was like they fucking hated each other at the end. And I remember there was a bit of animosity between certain guys within the Mercedes team, and it was just like, I just wondered how it translated, but like you say, if it's all kept corporate and behind closed doors, then you guys have got to do
certainly
it.
is for us. I know with the bigger teams, it gets publicised a lot more. And I think the media will try and make more of it than what it is, because then it makes it look more attractive and that. But I think it's down to the team principal how well they handle it.
Cool. Okay. I could talk forever, mate. So
no, we'll just finish these questions then. So we basically got Route 66. What would you do it in?
What would I do it in? I thought about this. I want to go for one of those big motorhome things.
Somebody else said that, an RV.
I got Winnebago.
Yeah, like big Winnebago, drive that along, Mrs. making a cup of tea, doing the old bacon sandwiches. That'd absolutely be mint. Wouldn't need to worry about hotels, just pull up
just
and
pull up.
have a kit.
I think that'd be
He's
wicked.
beginning to see a lot more sense in doing that rather than us saying I'll do it in a Lincoln Continental and breaking down and whatever. But yeah, older we get, Winnebago. I think it's a win all round.
And then it would be, what music would you play towards? It's like almost like the end theme tune, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if you've got a favourite tune and you're coming to the end of Route 66, like say there's a metaphorical finish line. What song would you have playing as you completed that?
I'd have the wife for me, so it'd probably be Ed Sheeran. For me personally, I'd probably Foo Fighters, something like that.
Cool.
Banging out.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I like that. So then it'd be air conditioning or radio. You can only pick one.
I'm older, so I prefer the air conditioning. I like the comfort. I'll go for the air conditioning. I can sing to myself all day long. I may not be very good at it, but... And that's the thing, if I ain't got the radio, can I have my phone there playing music?
We've got cheeky, stick your AirPods in.
That's the thing, me and the wife, we can chat shit all day, so
This
we're drive and chat, that's it.
I must admit, music would get in the way of chatting, wouldn't it? So I kind of see that.
So you've probably got more experience of this than any other guest at the minute. Do you have a favourite track?
That's a good question for you, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Considering you get to go to 22 of them every year. 24, 23 last year, 24 this year.
No, it's 24 last year.
24 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite track?
You mean the layout or the place?
If you're doing a track day.
Yeah, if you were doing a track
If I was
day.
doing a track day, I mean, there's a few I'd like Suzuka would be great. I mean, I've run each of them on foot. I have run around them all. Suzuka would be a great one to do.
130 yards, a banging corner.
But that looks, I mean, you've got your technical bits, you get your fast bits, you've got lots of fast bits, so it's great. Austria's another one, but again, it's the same
Beautiful
sort of,
track.
it's fast track.
Yeah. So if you could pick one and then pick a car to do a lap in,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I'd have to go for a long track, so I've got more time in the car. I mean, I'd love to do Silverstone, because it's literally, from my house, you can hear the cars there.
Okay.
I'd love to do that in a car, but I don't know. I think Kota.
Okay. That's quite a long track as well.
That's
like
a
you
long
say,
track.
you've got the thumping straight and you've got a really twisty bit in the middle. Yeah, that's a great track.
You get to do a bit of everything in that car. For me, it's that turn one as you get right up the top.
Yeah, up the top of the hill.
And you cannot appreciate, and it's the same in Austria, you can't appreciate how steep them hills are. Like you watch the guys on push bikes and they're literally weaving up there, it's that steep.
What car would you do it in?
I'd want to go in the R8.
Okay.
That's a good call. So bearing in mind you've pretty much been to every single one race, F1 track, which is the one that you'd like to go into the most, as in like for the aesthetics, for the track, for the experience?
The whole overall thing. Yeah, Kota's.
Is it?
Like Austin, it's a brilliant place.
That's a new one, isn't it?
It's been around a while.
Oh, is it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh no, Vegas is a new one, isn't it?
Vegas is a new one.
Yeah, Vegas, again, that's another one I love. Everyone seems to not hate it, that's probably a strong word, but a lot of guys don't know, but I think it's the times and all that of it.
Because it's run quite late at night, isn't it?
It is run late at night.
11 o'clock or something, isn't it?
Was it 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
10, something like that, but yeah. So that is a late race. I enjoy just the whole Vegas thing.
Yeah.
But I like all the America stuff out there anyway, so...
Yeah.
I think one of the things with Kota is when you see it, it's got that big... At the top of the hill, it's just
the
a
hill,
big,
the flag.
the massive flag. It's like the size of a house.
Yeah.
And there was a video that came out, I think it was a year before last. Somebody filmed Charles Leclerc doing his qualifying lap at sunset.
Yeah.
But then they put the Top Gun theme tune next to it, and it made the hairs on my fucking arm stand on end. I'll send it to you, but it's just beautifully filmed with a sunset. But it could only happen in America.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's a good track and it's a great city to go out in.
As in, I suppose it would be. That's kind of where we want to finish, isn't it? When we do the 66.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go down there, shoot some guns down the range.
Guns, strippers, cars. This is going to be great.
Food.
The food that you could just eat your way around Austin.
Yeah.
It's all the barbecue places.
Yeah, it's got to be done. Right, should we wrap that up?
Yes, mate.
I think all the memory cards are starting to fill up
These
now.
are full.
Oh, God.
Okay, that's fine. Right, thank you so much for coming on. It's been
Thank
really,
you.
really,
Yeah,
really cool.
I could talk to you forever about Formula One, but yeah, it was. Thank you very much. That was
I
absolutely
knew you'd
brilliant.
like this one. It was kind of like
Yeah, it
almost,
was.
Yeah.
It's definitely my thing. I even did notes of like, what's my MP4 23? That's my favourite Formula One car and stuff like that. Yeah, cool.
Cool. Right, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Anything you want to see, comments.
And obviously there's merch coming. We keep saying it, keep threatening it, but it will come eventually.
You got stickers.
You got some stickers to stick on your F1 car, remember? And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Tuesday.